Desirable. Shifters Forever Worlds. By Elle Thorne. Chapter 1. You're not going to invite them. You can't. Evie stomped her foot, eyes flashing. Lézare Arsenault held back a laugh. It wasn't that he didn't appreciate his little sister's angst. He'd suffered his own share of heartbreak. Hell, he was still living in heartache. That's what you get for falling for a woman you can't have. He forced a stoic expression onto his face while a battle raged on within him. His tiger knew the one for him. Lézare was attracted to that woman. God knew this Arsenault man was more than smitten, but what was he to do when she had no interest in him? She refused to regard him as anything other than the enemy who thwarted her plans. Evangeline. He put a hand on her shoulder. Evie, Evangeline Arsenault, was a hot-headed one. He had to admit all his sisters were. Such temperamental creatures, white tigresses, stubborn and beautiful. They took after their mother, curvy and dark-haired but with varying degrees of burnished copper highlights. Those were courtesy of their mother's gene pool as well. Simmer. He pulled her close for a hug. Surely you can manage a little party and not let his being there bother you. Lézare. Cher. He had a habit of using his mother's French, though, truth be told, he knew he butchered the language horribly. However, it didn't deter him. He had the accent down pat, even if he couldn't say the words with the precision the glorious language required. It wasn't easy juggling a southern accent with a French twist. Look, he continued. It's a big house. That wasn't an exaggeration. Arsenault Point was huge. It stood on a former plantation, originally owned by the man who'd held their father's people as slaves, long ago, before his great-great-grandfather Etienne could pass for white. Etienne had built a life for himself elsewhere, far from Louisiana, never once whispering of his slave heritage, allowing his white gene pool to dictate the course of his life and the path of today's Arsenault clan. Lézare's great-great-grandfather had been one of the rare shifters who wasn't born a shifter. He'd been turned. How he was turned was a secret he'd carried to his grave, saying that the world had enough shifters. Etienne had fled after he was turned, built a life in the north, and returned decades later as a wealthy, successful, and unmated shifter. Etienne had two goals when he returned. The first was to eradicate the bloodline of the people who'd held his people as slaves. The second was to take over their home. And that was how...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?